Hello, everyone. This is Thomas Pepin, NHL Talk. I'm Thomas Pepin, and let's talk about the NHL. Just realized I had a cut on my hand. Anyways, so in this stream, I was going to say today's stream, but I already did a stream today. So in this second stream, the first stream, I should say, I finished off my predictions for the last division of the four divisions, and then this one is going to be kind of putting them together and then making my predictions for the playoffs, Stanley Cup champion, maybe giving like a few teams to keep an eye out for, things like that. So that's what we're doing. Just give me one sec. I forgot to pull one thing up here. There it is. Put this, I guess there's fine. And here for this. All right. So you'll see on my screen my predictions. You should be able to see it at least. On the right hand side, my predictions from the streams that I did before. You can't see them in full. Give me one sec. Let's go like this. So Pacific Division, Central Division, Metropolitan, Atlantic. I didn't write division for this one. So I don't know if there's going to be any changes. I don't even know if it's worth taking a look. I think what I'll do, it's probably best discovered if it's going to be discovered. Changes to the standings based on my predictions for the playoffs. So, for example, if I take a look at a team and I'm like, I don't really know, then maybe I might change my mind on where they sit. So I think that's probably the best plan of attack. So we'll start in the West. And I do have Cap Friendly pulled up just in case I need to reference the rosters. But yeah, so we'll start with the Western Conference. So I'll copy these down. Insert page break. Paste. So we'll delete these. Delete these. Don't need that. Don't need that. So then that means that we would have Knights. Oh, so I guess in this case I have to compare Knights versus Stars. Because we need to know who's going to be first in the conference so we know who goes against the 8th seed. So Vegas and Dallas it was. Vegas. Eichel, Stone, Carlson, Marchessault, Barbashev, Waugh, Howden, Stevenson, Carrier, Colasar. I don't know if I like their forward group that much. I mean, it's good. They won the cup. Obviously, it's good. But their D, goaltending. How does Dallas look again? Because I know Dallas is more deep. Just I don't know if their high end is... actually, their high end might be just as good. Sergei Ben, Hintz, Robert... Actually, it might be better. Sergei Ben, Hintz, Robertson, Pavelski, Duchesne, Fexa, Marchment, Dadonov, Heiskanen, Lindell, Suter. That's wild. I thought Oilers. Where are the Oilers here? David Draisaitl, Hyman, Kane, Nugent Hopkins. See, that's where it just completely drops off. And defense. So my first instinct, or what I did before, I would stand by. Jeez. Would I put Dallas ahead of Vegas? Dallas can't be that good. They might be. What were the standings last season? Because I want to see if it would be crazy for me to predict Dallas to finish first. 108 points. 3 points behind Vegas. I don't think it's crazy, and I think they're better. So I think Dallas is gonna finish first in the Western Conference. I don't know how, really, and doesn't feel right, but I guess that's what it's gonna be. So it's gonna be Stars as a result versus Flames. And then as a result of that, Knights versus Jets. Then Oilers versus Kings. And Blues versus Avalanche. Okay, so Knights versus Jets. Now the thing, like, obviously you might have a team that's supposed to be better than the other team, but there's often a lot of upsets, and it's not, like, I'm not saying necessarily I think the Jets are going to beat Vegas, but just before I even start looking at it, there's going to be upsets. It's just a question of which teams get upset. And who knows is the answer. So Eichel, Stone, Carlson, Marchessault, Barbashev, Waugh, Stevenson, Howden, Carrier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't really like Vegas' goaltending. Jets, Connor, Scheifele, Wheelers. Or Ehlers. Wheelers. Wheeler's gone. Then from there, it's not that fantastic. It's deep. Like, I really like the depth of Winnipeg. It's just they don't have too much, like, high-end production. Defense is okay. Goaltending's good. I never thought that Hellebuck is as good as the credit he's been given. I don't know. I've always felt like some weak ones get past them, like unnecessarily weak. Um, I mean, it's easy to say as a viewer rather than a player, but so to be honest, I think this would be actually a relatively close series, given the change with Winnipeg. I think their depth is quite good. Um, but I still think Vegas would just beat them in the end. Vegas clearly has better defense. Forwards, I mean, it'd be comparable, I think, in my opinion, because Vegas doesn't have like high offensive production. It's kind of like the same kind of thing as like Connor, Shifley. I mean, there's good production, but it's not like a Matthews kind of production, or like a Kucherov or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, Knights, I think should be the winners if that's the matchup. Next up, Oilers Kings. I was gonna say right away, Oilers, but Kopitar, Dubois, Fiala, Deneau, Arvidsson, Kempe, Gavrikov, Vanderson. I don't know if I like the mix of a bunch of different things. But we just saw with Edmonton, McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Kane, Nugent Hopkins, and then what? You can't win with like five forwards. Nurse, Ekholm, Bouchard, CC, Kulak. I like their D. I like their goaltending tandem, even though it wasn't the best. I just think it would be the same thing that happened before, probably close, but the Oilers just has they would get too much out of McDavid and Draisaitl for any team for this team to handle. So Oilers I'll put through. Stars. Where are you? Stars and Flames. So it's going to be Stars, but let's just look. Seguin, Hintz, Robertson, Marchman, Pavelski, Baxa, Duchesne. Man, that's a deep forward group of like good production or theoretically good production. Heiskanen, Lindell, Suter. I don't know if I like the depth on D, but it's not bad. Because I think some of these young guys are going to develop and play well. We'll see, of course, but Ottinger, Wedgwood. Ottinger, yes. Wedgwood, meh. Anyways, overthinking the team. Huberto, Kadri, Mangiapane, Backlund, Lindholm. Dubé's not bad. That's about it. Uyghur, Hannafin, Anderson, Tanev, Zadorov. It's not a bad team. I think it would be a close series, especially because the Flames seem to be built for the playoffs. But I still would put the Stars ahead. I don't know if I have any upsets here. Blues and Avalanche. Kyrou, Thomas, Shen, Buchnevich, Sad, Hayes, Vrana, maybe neighbors. Falkirk, Pareko, Letty. It's a grade D. And then Bennington and Hoffer. Let's see with Colorado. Kinnan, Rantanen, Shushkin, Johansson, Lehkonen, Tatar, McCarr, Gerard, Manson, Taves, Byram, Georgia, Francouz. And that one's close. Gerard, Manson, Taves. So again, these are all based on my opinions of these teams. So I could be way off, of course. This one's so tough. Kairu, Shen, 5, 6, 7. Maybe Eater, so 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Like, I know on the high end Colorado would produce, but I just like the depth of the Blues. So this is where the standings could completely be different, but the whole point is which teams I think are strongest to get through. So I might be wrong on the regular season and then be right on the teams that, for example, get to the Final Four. So that's kind of, Final Four for the conference. So the conference semifinals. That's kind of how I designed a lot of my betting, is if I had the team getting to conference semifinals, but especially conference finals, then I should have money on the team. So, and that's how it worked, and everything, well, for 4 or 5 seasons went well. So I think that logic should play out in terms of who actually goes through, but up to that point, I don't know exactly how things would shake out. And then you could have a matchup, for example, where it's Knights against Oilers in the first round, or Stars against Blues in the first round, and then this eliminates a team earlier than expected. But in any case, then we have Knights versus Oilers. And then Stars versus Blues. I don't think I really need to revisit the teams to have my predictions. I mean, I still would have the Knights going through and the Stars. I can't really see anything different than Stars versus Knights. And I still think the Stars, and they're going to be more rested than the Knights. To be honest, I don't think I want to overthink it and mess around too much. Like, if other teams make the playoffs, for example, Kraken, do I think that they're going to get any deeper? No. Wild, same story. So really, there's not much to second guess, at least for the Western Conference here. Do I think the Oilers could make um, the conference final? Yes, they could beat the Knights. Kings, no. Jets, I think Jets maybe have this weird outside shot where just everything meshes, but I still don't see it. I don't know if I like the coach. So, um, yeah, I just don't see it. Flames, they could go deep, but I don't think they have a team designed to win a conference final and win a Stanley Cup kind of thing. Blues, I don't dislike the team. I think they could win a cup. Avalanche, I just don't think they're deep enough to win a cup again. So really, in the end, um, well, I guess maybe it's best to I'll bold the teams that I think have the best shot. So I think the Knights, Oilers, they're not deep, but just because they just got such amazing talent, their defense is fine. They would just need to have basically McDavid and Draisaitl really produce, and then everybody else kind of hold things together. Because like between the defense and the goaltending, they really could get the team deep. Stars, obviously, because I had them first. And Blues, to be honest, I don't see why they wouldn't have a decent enough shot. Anybody else in the West? Kings, no. Flames, no. Jets, no. Avalanche, I still don't even think no. So I as much as this is the final four in the conference, it might not be the same case in the East of the teams that I think have a decent shot at the cup. But out of the West, I think all four of these teams are reasonably well equipped to compete for a cup. So Knights, deep defense. Oilers, deep defense. Stars, I would say one of the deepest forward sets and pretty good goaltending. Knights, I don't think the goaltending's as good, but they've got the rest. Oilers have, I think, goaltending, defense, and the high-end firepower. Blues, good defense, I think good goaltending, or at least good enough goaltending, relatively stable forward group. So I think they all have different mixes, but all potential mixes to win a cup. So anyway, so that's for the Western Conference. And then we'll do the Eastern. So we need these. And we need these. All right, so Hurricanes versus Leafs for first place. That's a good question. I didn't think of that before. Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Nylander, Bertuzzi, Domi, Kampf, Young, Kruk. I don't know. Their high end's good, but I don't know if their depth is good enough. Riley, Brody, Klingberg, McKeeb, Liljegren, Giordano. Decent goaltending. Hurricanes, Aho, Teravainen, Kotkaniemi, Bunting, Nietzsche's, Stahl, Fast. I don't know. Similar. Then Orlov, Slavin, Burns, Ski, Pesci. I think their defense is probably, if not the best in the league, really close. I like their goaltending better than the Leafs. So, it's the regular season. Who has the weaker division? So that's the other thing, I guess, in the West I didn't consider is which division's weaker. They're pretty equally weak in the West, at least. So I don't know if I would change that. Then the East, similarly strong, I would say. Maybe Atlantic's slightly stronger. So for that reason, I think the Hurricanes would be first. So we'll put Hurricanes versus Lightning. And I don't even really need to look. Whoops. And I'm not supposed to do this yet, but right away I already know, so it's not even worth waiting to do it. So, and then Islanders versus Rangers. And that means Maple Leafs versus Penguins. Man, that's going to be an interesting series if it happens. Then Bruins versus Panthers. All right. So Islanders versus Rangers. Where's the Islanders? There you are. So Rangers, Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Trocheck, Cheadle, Lafreniere, Wheeler, Kako. Fox, Trouba, Miller, Lindgren, Schneider, Gustafson. I like the Rangers, but I already know that I really like the Islanders. I always have. Like, since they've had this kind of composition of their team. So Barzal, Horvat, Lee, Nelson, Peugeot, Palmieri, Sekas, Wallstrom, Pulock, Pelech, Dobson, Mayfield, Romanov, and the goaltending. Huh. I think I have the Rangers winning that. Like, it would be a really close series, and the goaltending for the Islanders would be strong. But Laviolette as the coach. I just like the scoring depth and the structure of the forward lines, like the forward composition, and then the ability to make decent lines, spread out scoring. Defense I like better for the Islanders. Goaltending essentially better for the Islanders, but I think the Rangers could have good enough goaltending if you just ride Shesterkin or something, or Quick could even do well again. Yeah, but that 1-2 punch out of the Islanders would be pretty strong. But their depth for the Rangers. You're not going to get much production out of the defense for the Islanders, though, but you will from the Rangers. I think the Rangers would beat the Islanders. I do think the Islanders are maybe a better rounded team, but I don't know. There's something in the matchup that I kind of feel like the Rangers would win. But that one, I mean, it's a coin flip. I don't know if really you'd be able to figure that out. Hurricanes against the Lightning, I think the Hurricanes are a better team based on if you go back and see my previous stream on the Atlantic Division. I just don't think they're that great. So you can see all the reasons why they're. And then Leafs versus Penguins. If this happens, it would be close. Oh, excuse me. Crosby, Malkin, Gensel, Rust, Raquel, Smith, Carter, Eller, Carlson, Letang. God, that's close. I like the D as a whole more in Toronto. On the high end, I think Pittsburgh's better, but on the average, Toronto's better. Goaltending, I'd be more confident in Pittsburgh than Toronto, but yeah, no, I definitely would. Then the forward group, to be honest, I prefer Pittsburgh. If Pittsburgh's healthy, it would be a really tough matchup. But the problem is I'm not so confident that the Penguins are going to be healthy. One thing I haven't thought about, I didn't consider for the other teams, is the value of cap space. So just give me 1 second. I'm going to go back actually and review a couple things here. Vegas has none. Jets have 2 million, which is basically none. There is the prorated cap hit from being at like the trade deadline. So Oilers, no space. Kings, essentially no space. Oops. Stars, no space. Flames, where are you? No space. Jeez. Blues, no space. Avalanche, no space. So nothing can be done to improve the teams really in the West of the ones that I chose or predicted would go through to the playoffs. And then in the East, Hurricanes, basically none. Lightning, none. Islanders, none. Rangers, basically none. Leafs, none. Penguins, basically none. Bruins, basically none. Panthers, none. So, yeah, nothing can really be done to make these teams do anything unless somebody gets injured and then they come back. So they come back in the playoffs and then they're able to get some trade to fill in, and then they've got like that like bypassing cap restrictions come the playoffs and stuff. So anyways, so Leafs versus Penguins, I think the Leafs would go through just because of injury problems potentially for the Penguins and age and all that. I just think I don't think they would be able to hold it together. But again, you never know. They could play really well. That's why I hesitated at the beginning because Pittsburgh would be. I still think they're a decent team. So, um, actually, on that note, I should change this. So I should do it based on back here. So Knights, Oilers, Stars, Blues. And then Bruins versus Panthers. Bruins, Panthers. Pasternak, Marchand, Coyle, Zaka, DeBrusk, Van Riemsdyk, McAvoy, Lindholm, Carlo, Grzelcyk, Shattenkirk. Goaltending's great. Florida, Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Rodriguez, Cousins. See right away with the depth, you can see it clear as day. Forsling. And the depth on D for the Panthers is really good. If this happened, I think the Panthers would win again. I just think they're deeper, and the only spot I'd say that I would prefer the Bruins would be goaltending, but it's close enough where I do think the Panthers would be better. Yeah, so the only reason for the regular season, I would have the Panthers lower is because of fatigue from the previous season, but I do think they're a better team. And then it would be Hurricanes versus Rangers, Maple Leafs versus Panthers. Hurricanes versus Rangers. That's tough. Hurricanes, Rangers. Aho, Teravainen, Kakaniemi, Bunting, Nietzsche, Stahl, Smartnook. Man, I like their D. I like their goaltending. I don't know if I like their forward depth. They had Svechnikov back. What's the injury timeline for him? Only October? So he might be back soon. So if they have Svechnikov back, then I do actually like the team. But the thing is you never know what kind of injuries are going to come up, so you got to expect that somebody's going to be missing. Panarin, Benejad, Kreider, Trocheck, Wheeler, Lafreniere, Goudreau, Kakko. Man, I like the defense so much more. And then the goaltending, I'd have it, like the team goaltending, I'd have it better for the Hurricanes. So I do think I'd have the Hurricanes winning that one. Leafs versus Panthers again. Barkov, Tkachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Rodriguez. Man, they're a D team. Cousins. Forsling, Larson, Kulikov, Hura, and plus the two other injured guys. Ekblad and Montour, goaltending. Leafs, Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Nylander, Bertuzzi, Domi, Camp, Yarncroc. It's just like getting into the fourth line and stuff. I like the depth of the Panthers. It's just the cumulative, like if you combine all the scoring you'd get out of the forward group, I still think Toronto would be like a chunk better. On defense, I prefer the Panthers. Riley, Brody, Klingberg, McKeeb. But Toronto's defense is pretty good altogether. It's not far off, if anything. Their goaltending's a concern. But I think they could get by. Like Vegas got by with goaltending that at times was not reliable. They played well, but they didn't have a good enough track record for you to know if that would happen. And then as a result, you don't know, for example, if Aiden Hill is going to be able to do anything close to what he did last season. So it could be done. And they also have Murray. So they're pretty deep in terms of options. So I actually do think the Leafs would win this time around. And then, again, the fatigue factor for the Panthers, I just don't think they'll be able to do the same thing. And then conference final, we would have Hurricanes versus Maple Leafs. Oops. So we already have the West decided here. Hurricanes versus Leafs. Aho, Teravainen, Kotkaniemi, Bunting, Nietzsche, Stahl, Bass, Svechnikov, Martinuk. And on defense, man, is it ever going to be offensively productive. I just think the team production is going to be really solid for Carolina. Just like the depth on D right there and the kind of offensive production they're going to get from the D, I think is just crazy. I think it's the Hurricanes. I think the Hurricanes are the team out of the East. And then in terms of teams that I think can have a shot at winning the Cup, so Hurricanes, I think, Islanders, as much as people tend to look down on them, I do think they have a shot. Rangers, I think, have a shot. Leafs have a shot. Bruins, do I think they have a shot? Probably. Panthers. I mean, it's almost all teams out of the East. I don't think that they're all necessarily the strongest teams in the league. I do think that they all have the right kind of mix to potentially win a cup. So, like, either some sort of combination of, like, deep D, good enough scoring, or good scoring, deep enough D. good goaltending, good scoring, but defense is mediocre. Like all those weird mixes. There's no team that has straight across the board great everything. I think it's really spread out pretty evenly for all the teams this season. I don't think there's like this powerhouse um like the Lightning would have had in the past where they have like two first lines and a second line kind of thing, and then their fourth line is basically like a third line. So there's nothing like that going on as far as I'm concerned. But there's a lot of teams out of the East that I think have a shot, which makes it difficult to predict the standings, who would um, get through the playoffs, and then who would win the cup too. So, and then Hurricanes versus Stars. That's, I think, also going to be tricky. So compared to the teams in the East, I think like you throw the Knights against any of those teams, the Knights could win. Oilers against any of those teams, the Oilers could win. Stars, Blues. I do think that it's a pretty wide open of who's going to win the cup, this is a great example of why I decided to stop doing betting, because I just don't think it's predictable enough. Previously, I thought goaltending would be able to really solidify a team, but now they do goaltending by committee, which makes it difficult to figure things out. You've got these high-powered offenses that can't reproduce the production in the playoffs. Then you've got like well-rounded teams that can go deep, but then you face them against another team that can produce high, and then that team can win. It's just really unpredictable, I feel now. Which again, like I said, it's why I'm not betting now. Because with large sums of money that I was dealing with, I just don't want to. I don't want to have the stress or concerns and stuff. So, Hurricanes versus Stars. Senge, Ben, Hintz, Robertson, Marchment. Like their forward group is the deepest, in my opinion. Is it necessarily going to be the highest high-end production? Probably not, but you've got guys there like Robertson, Hintz. There's nobody else injured, right? Just them alone in terms of what they're going to produce. 109 points, 46 goals for Robertson. Hintz was 37 goals the past 2 seasons, basically a point per game. Like that's a chunk. And then you've got all these guys that are now, I would argue, character guys, but mixed in with other guys. Like Seguin, maybe he gets back to his previous production, could put up something like 70 points. Still is getting 20 some odd goals. Ben, 33 goals. I didn't even know that he got that last season because of the dip before. But basically a point per game. Pavelski's still producing 20 some odd goals, nearly a point per game. Marchment, I think, was decent, but I can't recall. Half a point per game. But still, I mean, well, he had that 47 points in 54 games, and that's just a season ago, not last season, but the one before. Duchesne, still basically a point per game, had 43 goals, not last season, but the season before. Like, I mean, it's a deep team. D, I'm not as confident in, so it's where you get to these younger guys that who knows what's going to happen. Like 16 points in 82, 16 in 60, barely played. Did I skip past this guy? No, I didn't. So, I mean, who knows? They're all young, and those Finnish defense, they tend to be pretty well rounded. So, then Ottinger net, good goalie. I like the mix. If they throw Ben in there on defense, I think that actually would be good. So he's on a tryout. If they had something, just to solidify with a bit of like a veteran presence. I was gonna say president. I think that would help. Carolina, Aho, Teravainen, Kotkaniemi. I don't know if I like Kotkaniemi. Bunting, how did you produce? Not bad. Maybe decent with this team. Nietzsche's, I thought he produced well. 28 goals, 71 points. That's pretty good. Stahl, I think, is taking a step back. Didn't Jarvis produce? Yeah, Stahl, he's kind of just, more of a defender now. Fast, not much. Martinuk, meh. Jarvis, meh. But him, I think he would be trending upwards. Nosen, eh. Drury, eh. There's not much going on offensively. Like on the high end, yes, but everywhere else, it's kind of mediocre. The defense is just so stellar. It's not even worth going through all of them, but like it's so good. And goaltending is great. Like at least two goalies deep, but Kochetkov could come in and probably play decent. So, I think it would be a heck of a series if these guys face off against each other. It would be really interesting because, like, this defense for Carolina could be producing nearly as good as forwards for the Stars. And on that note, I actually will pull up some of these guys because, like, well, in this case, it was what, 36 points in 66 games. So, half a point per game. Half a point per game for Slavin, but he's not a big offensive guy. He's kind of two-way. Burns, 61 and 82. Ski, 38 and 81. Pesci, 30 and 82. And, like, we're going forward defense deep already. 42 and 70 for D'Angelo. 51 and 64 when he was with Carolina before. It's another forward. So just with the defense and goaltending and like good enough offense, I think it would be super close. To be honest, I think in the end, and they got DeBoer. Because I was just about to say that I think Carolina would win, but DeBoer's a good coach. Man, I think it's just the defense is just not, in comparison, not good enough versus the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes, I'd say they're the same on the high end for goaltending, but if there's any injuries or whatever, Carolina is better for depth. Defense, Carolina is clearly better, might even be twice as good. And then on forwards, I'd say Dallas is noticeably better. But just it's the defense and the goaltending that I really think would push the Hurricanes ahead. And I mean, even like it's a coin flip. I think these two teams would be very close. but I feel in the end that the Hurricanes are going to be the better team. So to be honest, I really do feel like these two teams, no matter the matchup, so long as they don't play against a team that's like really equal early on, I think these two teams are destined to go at least to the conference finals, but probably the Stanley Cup. As weird as these two picks might sound, like for the reasons I've mentioned, I really do think that they're set up to win. So, and I didn't think I'd say that about the Stars. Hurricanes, I knew there was something going on, but I don't know. It's super close this season, I think. Like, it's hard to predict who's going to win the cup, but this is going to be as good as I can get. So if you want to see the full matchups and Stanley Cup winner, I think that I should just make this slightly bigger. And you'll be able to see everything. So Western Conference, Eastern Conference, and Stanley Cup final. So like I said, it could turn out where, for example, Knights versus Oilers, Oilers win. Stars versus Blues. I still think the Stars would win, but Blues could pull it off. Same thing in the East. You see all the teams that are bold there. Any one of them could win the series. Any one of them could win the conference final and get to the cup. And then put the Penguins against the Stars. I think the Penguins would give them a run for their money. Bruins, probably. Panthers, probably. Leafs, probably. It's just super close. So yeah. So those are my predictions. I don't really have much else I can say. And I thought maybe I could put up some adjustments, but it doesn't look like there's anything really I would change. So yeah, so that's it. We'll leave it there. If you like the stream, hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe, turn on notifications. The channel homepage has upcoming streams on regular NHL content. Like I said earlier, next one is the preseason recap. That's going to be on, I think it's Friday, the 13th. That's going to be 2:30 p.m. Eastern. And then otherwise there's other streams scheduled. You can see all those at the channel homepage. Some topics not announced, but those will get announced as I decide on what I'm going to talk about. For things that can't schedule ahead of time, like franchise mode, keep in mind again, so it runs Sunday, Monday, Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. But keep in mind, this coming Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, those dates are canceled because I have other things I need to do. But after that, everything should move back to that schedule. Be a pros whenever I have time or feel like it. Any comments, leave them in the comments. Suggestions likewise. And we will see you guys next time. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, bye.